Welcome to the Chapter 1 podcast, your inside look at the people powering Charlotte's business scene. Real entrepreneurs, real stories right here in the Queen City. Today we're here with Jamie Henriksen of Henriksen Wood. And Jamie, we're excited to have you on. Let's start at Chapter 1. How did you make your way to Charlotte?
Well, we came here, I think in 2015. We were kind of drawn into all the water and the trees. And the people. We had a choice of a few places, but my wife's company, who she worked for at the time, they wanted to start an East Coast operations center out here, and that kind of drew us over, and we chose Charlotte of all the places we looked at, to be. I actually came out and took a look at the place for a week, looked around, found a house, and we just came out after that.
Awesome. So you said it was the water that drew you. So you were at a place before that didn't have a whole lot of water. There was a drought there, something? So tell me about what life was like before you moved to Charlotte. Start at the beginning.
Sure. So we were in San Diego, and it's pretty dry out there. And now it turns out we're in a drought over here, even though it's raining today. So yeah, I was working for the Forest Service as a firefighter, engineer, forestry tech. And I'd been there for about 10 years, and I was ready for a change. And Leah was looking for a change too, so we decided to just go with it, and we came out here, and we loved it.
So tell me about professional life and just a little bit of your journey. Like what was your first job, and then take me through just some of the work that you've done before, what you started now in Henriksen Wood.
Okay. So my first job was a dishwasher at a truck stop.
That's amazing.
And kind of worked my way up through all of those things. The dishwasher who was on shift quit, and a friend of mine was working there, and they're like, call Jamie up. So they threw me right in, and I was cleaning out ashtrays and, everything, and worked my way through all those jobs up to like line cook. I've done quite a few things since then, working at a pizza place. Then I started getting like construction jobs. Ended up working at a cabinet shop for a while, where we actually worked with a local sawmill who was milling up stuff. Kind of led into other things. But I always enjoyed being outside. I worked for one company who sent me up to do some roofing. He was a contractor, and he was actually afraid of heights. So
that's a bad combination.
Yeah, it was. Well, he'd stay on the ground, which was kind of nice for me, because I'd just go up there, and I was working with another guy who knew what he was doing with roofing, and it was always nice being up in the air, kind of off the ground there. And then I started getting into firefighting as a volunteer out in San Diego, and that led into full-time firefighting. I worked for a reservation department out there, protecting a casino and some section of freeway, and of course all the wildland around that. And then I ended up working for the Forest Service, and then eventually I came out here, and that kind of all led into all what I do now, with the climbing the trees and removing the trees, turning them into lumber, and doing a bit of woodworking. So it kind of everything all added up. And when I was in Southern California, I did a lot of rock climbing too. So it kind of everything just kind of fell into place for me.
So firefighting, I want to ask you this before we get into what you're doing now. Firefighting in California, what was that like? Did you have any wild stories, or was it kind of mild career for you?
So when I first started, we as a volunteer, we went on a larger fire that was a wind-driven fire, and my captain, who'd been with that department for like 15, 20 years, he told me like that was the biggest fire I'm probably ever going to go on. Wow. And it was maybe 3,000 acres. I'm like, yeah, that was a pretty big fire. It was pretty fast moving. And then every year after that, I was going on bigger and bigger and bigger fires, like the Cedar Fire and then the Horse Fire. All these fires that just kept getting huger. So I kind of took that with a grain of salt. Like, yeah, that wasn't the biggest fire I'm going to go on. It was the biggest fire he'd been on. But things had just been getting worse and worse and drier out there. And then just the winds and all the fuels built up out there. So I went on a lot of fires. They got just bigger as they went. I had a lot of fun doing it. is a lot of camaraderie with crews and working with people in kind of extreme environments, and just learning how to predict fire was very interesting to me, and it was a good time. But yeah, there was tons of crazy stuff going on out there. Is there anything specific?
No. That's good. I just wanted to kind of know. I was just personally curious. I know California has some wild fire situations. I don't know if that was your experience.
Yeah, it definitely was.
So now we're transitioning to, we still don't like fire because we're fans of wood now. So
Sure.
tell me a little bit about Henriksen Wood. What do you guys do? Tell me about you.
So Henriksen Wood, we're a tree service, and we focus on using that wood instead of sending it to a landfill or having it all get ground up or just wasting it. So when we moved here, we had 7 enormous trees on the property that were way too close to the house and sending branches down. Across the street from our house, there was a home that had been demolished by enormous tulip poplar that fell down on it, I think during Hugo. So we wanted to avoid that from happening to our house, but we didn't want the wood to go to waste because they're like 3 and 4 foot diameter tulip poplars. That's really nice wood and huge trees, just kind of in a tough spot to get. So I called up a local sawmill, like, hey, you guys interested in this? And they're like, sure, bring them to me and I'll give you like $100. I'm like, what?
$100.
These logs are like, easy 6,000 pounds a piece. Me getting them to them was a little bit of a challenge. So I just looked into getting my own sawmill, a portable mill that I could set up in place on top of the logs and then use the lumber for myself. And then I got a better sawmill after that, also portable, but a little bit bigger. The first mill I was using was a chainsaw mill, which is basically a jig that you bolt on to the bar of a chainsaw and you push that thing down the log.
Wow.
Which is a lot of work.
That sounds like a lot of work. Goodness gracious.
Yeah. When I purchased the Lucas mill, just learning how to use it on another log in the backyard, I did about a week's worth of work in a morning.
Wow.
Compared to the chainsaw mill versus the Lucas mill, which is the swing blade. It's not as portable as a chainsaw mill, but it's so much faster. So I finished up all those. We used a lot of the wood for our own projects, and then Leah decided, hey, I think maybe we could do this for money instead, and quit her job and just go out on our own. And with how huge the trees grow in Charlotte, we just saw a huge opening. Like there's a niche in there. Like there's a lot of people with a huge tree that maybe they can't have in their yard any longer, but they can't get it to the sawmill. And even if they did, it wouldn't really be worth their time or the gas, especially just one off. But they might want to use that wood. So we took that show on the road, and we've been flying with it ever since and having a good time and making lots of lumber out of the stuff. The other part of the job that we do is I climb the trees and take them apart. I can put hardware up in the trees and use that to turn the tree into like a crane, basically.
Wow.
So a lot of kind of advanced rigging, which was kind of a carryover from a lot of my fire rescue training from before.
I bet it does, yeah.
This is a natural progression, yeah. Just using the ropes and understanding the physics of how to move things and do them safely. And it's both of those aspects of our new job is pretty cool to me. I enjoy it.
So when you say take the show on the road, what was that process like for you? So you have this idea, you kind of proof test it on yourself, and you go through that whole process. How did you market yourself, and how do you market yourself now as far as like, hey, this is what we do? How are you going out there and finding clients?
So the first year, it was a lot of kind of testing and figuring out how we could do it and what makes money. And there was a transition of like looking at yourself as an employee versus a business owner, and working. I'd say the first year we were working and paying ourselves like employees. So you're going to get tons of jobs that way if you're underselling yourself and basically working yourself into the red because you're not making enough money. But we'd heard from a lot of people, like the first year in business, you got to be prepared to not make money. And whereas we made money, we weren't profiting. And it definitely wasn't enough. So luckily we had enough to tide us over until we were profitable. And then we were just finding jobs from mostly networking, meeting other people, going to business networking events, and just talking to people. It's a lot of education. You got to educate your clients on what you can do. And a lot of people don't even know that you can do it. Once we kind of hit the threshold of being like online and a lot of people seeing us, we're putting signs out in people's yards while we were doing the work. And if you set up a sawmill in the front yard of somebody's neighborhood, people are going to come out and they're going to talk to you and they're like, "What are you guys doing?" So that just word of mouth really kind of spread. We talked to other businesses who were similar to ours, and once they started seeing us doing it and kind of gaining some traction, both on like social media and stuff, and just out in the world, they're like, "Hey, come on over, let's talk." And we actually got some good insights from other businesses. Like, I think you might be charging a little bit too less. Like, you got to think about what happens when your sawmill needs maintenance and stuff like that, or you need health insurance, right? You got to charge enough to make sure that you can keep doing this, not just run yourself into the ground. But it just kind of, it was word of mouth, and it slowly built as it went until this is all we do for money. So
that's awesome. So to walk me through the process, because it seems like a really interesting thing to be like, hey, I want these trees taken out, but then that's going to actually turn into a material to be used. So like, walk me through the whole process as far as like a client comes to you, they're interested, take me through to the end.
So first, somebody reaches out to me, and they say they want to get some logs milled up. They're trees, maybe they're standing. Sometimes they're just in the front yard. They don't want it to go to waste, so I come out and I take a look at it. And then I tell them first whether it's worth milling. Not every tree is worth milling, or you're not going to get the high quality lumber. Maybe it's a species issue. It might be just how the tree's grown. A lot of trees might have metal stuck in them. And people hang hammocks. They put plants, maybe a flagpole, yard sale sign.
So there is consulting, I guess, that happens at the beginning where you might just come in and say, hey, I'm just going to give you my personal advice. This is probably not worth it to have us come out here and do this to this tree. Okay, that's cool.
And sometimes it's maybe they're not looking at it as an economical decision. Maybe it's a sentimental decision. And that's fine too. That's why we'll do it, but we'll tell you like, well, that tree's got a lot of knots in it. It's not straight, so it's not going to make good 1x6s, but it might make a good mantle for your fireplace. I also might hit metal, and I'm going to charge you if I hit metal with my saw. So I'll try to give people the best understanding, the best education of what we can do, and then we go from there. And then so we'd have to take the tree down, or maybe they've just got a pile of logs from a new construction and they've got logs that they wanted used. Either way, I'll tell them what we can make with it, and then we bring the sawmill out. We might have to move the logs around a little bit. And we actually built specialized equipment to be able to lift up like a 7,000-pound log and put it in a place where I could mill. And that's always been fun, like kind of figuring out how to do the business. Because not a lot of people are doing it. Sure. And it's not like there's a formula out there and everybody's doing the same thing. So there's a lot of custom gear and specialized equipment and different ways of doing things, at least with the technology that we have and how much equipment we want to bring out on your front yard without like breaking your driveway and stuff. So then we mill the lumber. A lot of times people are out there watching us because they want to see that. It's really neat to open up a tree and see all the colors and the growth in there. Maybe there's old woodpecker damage inside of the tree from years ago. It's kind of like a little archaeology tour of the tree, little trip through history. But then we mill up the boards. A lot of times the clients will help stack, and it's kind of a satisfying thing for them. And it also, if they talk more than they stack, that's why I charge hourly. That was one of my business lessons early on. Like, if the client wants to help, if they're paying hourly, it motivates them to actually help rather than, hey, let's talk about how cool this wood is. I'm like, yeah, no, this is some really cool wood.
Cha-ching.
So then we help them stack it, and the lumber needs to air dry with it needs to be off the ground, and it needs to have space in between all the boards, and then those boards all need to get strapped to each other, basically, to keep them from twisting when the sun hits them or drying funky. And then a little bit of roofing needs to go over top of that so that it doesn't get leaves and more rain and stuff like that. They typically let it air dry for about a year, and then they start using it after that. And then we also have other machines. We've got chippers and stuff to turn branches into wood chips for them. We also will split up the non-millable stuff and turn that into firewood for them. It all just kind of, we cater an experience of reusing their wood to them. And then, of course, there's some clients where that's like, there's nothing we can do for you. You don't need mulch. It's a crepe myrtle. You just want it cut. We'll just haul that off and recycle the chips ourselves. So we can kind of work with just about anybody. The full service is cutting a tree down, rigging it off of their roof, milling it, turning it into boards for them, and everybody has a certain amount that is useful to them, and we just do what we can to help those people.
What's the thing that you love most about what you guys are doing now?
I would say climbing things. I like to climb things. The other fun thing is when I don't have to carefully lower something down on a rope, where I can just take and drop 600 pounds straight into your front lawn.
So you're a kid. You like the climbing and knocking trees over. Those are your favorite
things that go boom.
There you go.
But not every job do I get to do that. But when I do, I gotta really appreciate those days. The other thing that I've also been enjoying a lot, we've been doing, is rescuing cats who are stuck in trees.
Wow.
Because I've got all the climbing gear and stuff like that. And after a cat's been up in a tree for a week and it's clear they're not coming down, we'll come out and get that kitty down. That's a rewarding, fun thing to do for me.
So for somebody who maybe is on the outside looking in of entrepreneurship, haven't started their own thing, I mean, you've gone through the whole process of starting something that's incredibly unique and growing it. What advice would you give that person? What are some tips that you've learned over the years of growing your own company?
Well, I mean, first, like, you might as well do something that you love. Like, one bit of advice that I'd heard, I think from Jim Carrey, was that you could fail at doing something that you hate. So you might as well try doing something that you love. So that was as big for me. It's like doing something that I'm interested in, something that I enjoy doing. But also for like the practical side, you need to make sure that you're charging enough to actually make a living.
That's big.
As a business owner, from the employee mindset to the business owner mindset, you're often not thinking like, well, $25 an hour, that's a decent wage, but not as a business. You can't charge $25 an hour.
That's right.
If that's what an employee was making for $25, hey, that's great. But you need to be charging enough for maintenance and overhead, insurance, time spent like unpaid, like when you're going out and doing sales or you're doing education or you're doing marketing, any of that stuff. But another thing is just give it a try.
Yeah.
Give it a whirl. And it might not be for everybody, but I certainly enjoy working for myself and doing the things that I love. Like a big change from working for, say, the government, getting told this is how you do it and this is always the way we do it. And you have an idea like, hey, what if we did it a little different? And they're like, no. That's been a huge incentive for me to keep doing it, is because if I have a different idea, if I want to change how I'm doing something, or if I want to make it a little more efficient, I can do it right now. So we're always trying to improve what we're doing. Early on, a thing that helped us improve a lot as a small business was talking about how a job went and figuring out, was that something that went well? Do we want to keep doing it like that, or do we want to change something? What didn't go well? And how can we do it better in the future? So kind of continuous improvement is another big thing that I'd tell other business owners to engage in and do.
Yeah. So what about Charlotte changes what you do? Like what are the trees that you're seeing here in Charlotte, and how has that kind of affected, like, how has that kind of affected what you do? Like, and how would that look different in other places?
So for Charlotte, we've got some huge trees that work great for the particular mill that I chose, and I actually chose the mill based on the trees that we see out here.
Smart.
Like these enormous tulip poplars that you can't fit your arms around. Not every area has trees that are that big or that species. So for me, the circular mill with the swing blade worked out great for that, and it also makes the lumber that I want to see that's useful. Like there's other mills that are, say, bandsaw mills, and they have a blade that runs all the way across and out the other side. So they make good slabs, like the live edge slabs you see in like trendy bars and stuff. I don't really like those, so I don't really make those. They're also they fail a lot because they just dry all crooked. So you might make 10 slabs and 2 of them are okay, and then 3 more you have to really work to get them decent, just because they move around. I like to make just useful 2x4s, 1x6s, 4x8s, 8x8s, just something you can dry and make into something for you with not a lot of failure rate. So we, in this area with like the huge oaks, the tulip poplars, it makes sense to make just dimensional lumber out of huge trees. And I can bring my sawmill right on top of a huge tree that otherwise you wouldn't be able to move. Like say it's like a 20-foot long, 4-foot diameter tree. Like nobody's going to pick that up without busting the sidewalk outside. So just tooling up to what you have in the area. If I was like in the Pacific Northwest with a bunch of pine, I might go with a bandsaw mill instead of the swing blade because the trees are smaller. At least the ones that are available to cut. Things in Charlotte, we've recently had some tree ordinances pass through, so we're not going to be seeing as many huge trees come down until they actually need to come down and dying. Now it's a 30-inch tree is a heritage tree in Charlotte.
I just heard that from my sister. That was really interesting news to me. That like even though it's on your property, you can't take it down.
Well, and I get it. We want to keep trees, and that's one of the reasons why I started my business, because I really enjoy trees. I like trees, and if they do need to come down, then let's try to make the best out of it.
Yeah,
but. Yeah, now it's a little harder to bring those trees down, even if it's just something like I don't feel comfortable with this tree next to my house because it's huge. Tulip poplars love to send huge branches down once those branches get shaded out even by themselves. So they're just like, hey, have this. They're givers. And I had my gutter stabbed a few times. They also get lightning strikes first because they're the tallest of those trees. But anyways, that's something we got to work around and with, and at least when those trees do need to come down, and hopefully they can get used to their best, highest upcycle.
Sure.
When they do, but that's just how things are in Charlotte. Things have changed, but you can't take that down now, not without permission or a reason. If you're remodeling your house, you can take it down if it's in the way of the remodel, but that's just how it is.
Sure. Well, Jamie, thank you so much for being on. If somebody wanted to get in contact with you, where could they find you? How could they reach you?
They can find me on Facebook. They can find me on my website. info@henriksenwood.com is my email address, and henriksenwood.com is my website.
Awesome. So this has been Jamie Henriksen with Henriksen Wood, and like always, this is the Chapter 1 podcast.